Broadcasting from Detroit's Cass Corridor, it's the Metro on WDET. I'm Tia Graham.
And I'm Kerry Jr. II. Today on the program, locating essential resources can be a challenge for the people who need them most.
We'll speak to one woman whose map aims to make it easier to find services.
Also, the Scarab Club has been around for more than 100 years, and this year was the first time a Black woman will lead its gallery.
We're joined by Donna Jackson about the current state of arts and how the Scarab Club is contributing to the growth of the greater community. And
the Black Slate endorsed Reverend Solomon Kinloch for mayor. The chairman of that group joins today to discuss why. But first, Michiganders love to boast about our water. That's because we live next to some of the largest bodies of fresh water in the world. But that fact alone does not keep our water free from contamination. Accessing clean water has been an ongoing issue for state residents. Lead has been a problem, PFAS is a consistent issue, and now state regulators say Wyandotte's water system is in poor condition. An April report claims that 40% of the water system had, quote, significant deterioration. The Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy says Wyandotte is, quote, not demonstrating the technical, managerial, and financial capacity necessary to own and operate a water system, and that these issues pose a, quote, immediate health risk to consumers of water. Paul Lemaines is the general manager for Wyandotte's municipal services, and he says the city's working to make corrections to its water system and that the water is safe to drink. Part of the interesting thing about this story is that in addition to its electricity and internet, Wyandotte owns and runs its own water system. That's different from a lot of small cities, which have their water systems run by the Great Lakes Water Authority. So to discuss this in Wyandotte's water system now, we have Paul Lemaines here. Paul, welcome to the Metro.
Kerry, good morning, and thank you for having me on your show today, and thank you for your interest in Wyandotte.
Absolutely. So before we get into the state report, I want to better understand your job and your role. What is it like to manage all three utilities, broadband, electricity, the water system, all that for Wyandotte?
Well, it's definitely a very challenging role, and if you look at some of the other providers of those same utilities, not only in this area, in other areas of the state, you'll be hard-pressed to find the CEO of a investor-owned utility also running a water system and a fiber broadband video system. So each utility has its unique challenges.
And you have to kind of manage all those at the same time. Is it, I guess, trying to split your brain, I guess, in some ways to understand what's necessary for each specific utility? Do they work similarly in some way? Can you just kind of break that down for us?
The similarities are that we all three utilities have fantastic superintendents that are responsible for running the operations. So they are the operational brains behind the utilities. My role is to manage the financial and the administrative aspects of the business and make sure that not only are we providing our services at a reliable providing our services reliably, but that they're also affordable. And that's a big thing that people sometimes seem to forget, is that affordability is something you have to balance with reliability.
Yeah. The regulatory agency, so EGLE, said that Wyandotte is, quote, not demonstrating the technical, managerial, and financial capacity necessary to own and operate a water system. What was your reaction when you first saw this claim from EGLE?
Well, no one at EGLE ever asked me about that comment that they made, and I do know that I'm not sure how you can comment on the financial wherewithal of an organization unless you've looked deeply into what some of these resources are for that organization. I don't think EGLE understands the resources that Wyandotte has in order to address the issues that they had in their report. We obviously will take the recommendations for the improvements, and we will build them in our rates. All of our rates are cost of service. So we're not a for-profit organization that is looking to make a profit on any of the utilities that we have. So our audit reports are done every year. In fact, the fiscal 24 audit was presented publicly to the commission probably 2 weeks after they did the sanitary survey. So in mid-March, that audit report was presented. They could contact their colleagues at the Treasury Department and ask them if Wyandotte Municipal Services has any financial issues, and their colleagues at the State Treasury Department would tell them that we don't. I do know that the survey is done. I don't think they had any financial individuals on their team. I'm assuming that they were all engineers. And quite frankly, Carrie, engineers like to spend money. So not look at the financial side of it. So that's my job, is to balance both the operational activities and the affordability of the utilities in Wyandotte.
So if I'm understanding you quite clearly, you're saying the state of the water system is in the state that it is based on the budget that you're able to use to support it. Is that right? So you're saying they want to spend more money to update it, but you have to make sure that the books are balanced.
I'm not saying that. So obviously, as part of the follow-up from their study, we're going to have to make additional investments in the business. So we welcome the study that EGLE does, Carrie. Mm-hmm. It's no different than a homeowner having a property inspection by any city that says, hey, you added living space to your basement. You need an egress window. Okay, you're going to have to add that to your facility or to your house. It's the same thing with the survey that EGLE has done for our water infrastructure, and we welcome the results of that. We take those results seriously, and we work on our action items according to the plan that EGLE has outlined to address those issues. Now, the funding of that, there are all sorts of ways that you can fund the costs for that. We have a very robust TIFA group here in Wyandotte that we can look to for funding for certain aspects of the report. The state has, and before I say this part about the state's revolving low-interest fund for these types of activities, I can tell you right now that the water fund does not have any bonded debt. So we could look to that financing aspect. But again, there are a wide variety of ways to fund the items that EGLE has outlined in their routine maintenance survey. That's what I like to call it.
And these are the resources you're talking about you have to address the issues. When you say resources, you mean money.
Correct.
Okay. How much money does Wyandotte spend on its water system annually?
The water fund is approximately a $4 million a year in terms of sales, and our costs, we're at cost of service, so cost match revenue. And
considering EGLE's recommendations, will that require you to increase the budget for water each year, or is it just for this one update given the survey's results?
I would expect that this will be a multiple-year capital project. So there's three components of your cost when you set your rates. There's your operational and maintenance expenses, there's your capital, and there's your debt service. So when any one of those components changes in your cost, your rates are going to naturally change.
And so going forward, what is EGLE's responsibility in helping you maintain clean and safe water in a functional system? Are they just regularly checking your systems, or do they help you maintain it as well?
Well, their responsibility is to do what they did with this water sanitary survey. According to their rules, community water systems are supposed to go through this process every 3 years. The last time that EGLE did this in Wyandotte was 2020, so it was 5 years for us. And each time we go through this process and we receive the results from EGLE, we address them as any organization would address action items on a follow-up to-do list. And that's what we're in the process of doing right now. EGLE has given us some deadlines to abide by, which we obviously take very seriously. And we're in the process of addressing the items that they have in the report that they provided to us in early May.
I do want to just ask this once again, just for clarification. The water in Wyandotte, is it safe for the residents to drink, to use?
So I want to make this point very clear, Carrie. It would be irresponsible to conflate a survey that's part of a routine maintenance of the water system with the quality of water. There is no issue with the quality of water in Wyandotte. It meets or exceeds all state and federal standards, including the fact that per EGLE requirements, we are required to provide our customers on an annual basis a customer confidence report, and that has consistently gone out on time for as long as I have been here and even prior to that. On our website are the prior 15 years' worth of customer confidence reports. Each customer receives that report in the mail by June 30th each year. Okay? So, very timely question, because the 2024 water quality report just was placed in the hands of the customers probably 10 days ago. And it has a whole page of the substances that are tested for in the water. And there are probably 14 substances on here, and the violation is no to each one of those substances. So that is the true test of the quality of water, not the infrastructure that helps make the water and deliver it.
I hear you. Well, Paul, I asked that question because in the survey, EGLE says that the system poses a, quote, immediate health risk to consumers of water. And I don't quite believe you answered my question yet. So just to be clear again, you're saying the water is safe for folks in Wyandotte?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So I want to reset real quick for listeners who are just joining us. You're listening to the Metro on 101.9 WDET. My name's Kerry Jr. II. We're talking about Wyandotte's water system after a state report was released that accuses it of being in poor condition. We're speaking with Paul Lemaines. He's the general manager of Wyandotte Municipal Services. Paul, there are a number of things EGLE says needs to be updated with the system. EGLE said that public water supplies are required to take reasonable precautions to protect storage tanks from trespassers and prevent introduction of contaminants including like a tennis ball were found in it. Why is that, and what is being done to prevent that from happening again?
So EGLE's report had 4 significant deficiencies. So let's talk about those, right? The first deficiency was that the vents needed to be repaired. One vent needed to be repaired, and the mesh on all of the vents for all 3 reservoirs needed to be changed to a smaller mesh. That has already been completed. Okay? The second thing, as you just mentioned, was what they called contamination in reservoir number 3. So one of the vents for reservoir number 3 is right in the middle of the tennis courts at the north end of Bishop Park. Those tennis courts have not been in use for well over 20 years. So I would imagine at some point in time, someone was playing tennis there. They may have been unhappy with their match, or just as a joke, they may have stuck their hand up the P-shaped pipe and squeezed a tennis ball in there. That's what we're talking about, Carrie. Beverage containers, all right?
Yeah.
Probably impossible to do the same thing with the glass bottle, which I believe is the beverage container that they found in there. But back when the reservoirs were constructed, that I can't tell you whether the individuals constructing the reservoirs left those in there. So, anyways, those things will be removed when we have the dive team go in there. Reservoir number 3, Carrie, is 3 million gallons of water. So you can imagine 2 tennis balls in a pop bottle in 3 million gallons of water. All right. The other 2 reservoirs hold more than 600 and 800,000 gallons respectively. So collectively, there's over 4 million gallons of water in all 3 reservoirs. So that's a lot of water. The third thing is the residential cross-connection program. Back in 2020, we implemented a commercial cross-connection program. We had plans to implement our residential cross-connection program via utilizing the building and rental inspections from the city building engineering department. And after a short while, we felt that we weren't able to address the number of residential cross-connection reviews that we needed to.
What is a cross-connection review?
So the inspectors will go to your house and they'll make sure that things such as lawn irrigation, your laundry tub faucet, your outdoor faucets, or certain sump pumps at your house can't siphon water back into the water system. So, good example. You have a laundry tub, it has a faucet on it. When the inspector comes out, they're going to tell you you have to have a vacuum breaker on that faucet. So in the chance that your basement floods and the water gets high enough to backflow into the water system through the faucet, that vacuum breaker will prevent that from happening.
Gotcha.
Same thing with the outdoor water faucets. Same thing with lawn irrigation. So now we're going to have a company, the same company that does our commercial cross-connection inspections, go out to each residential house in Wyandotte over a period of time. They don't look at every one every year. I'm not sure how frequently they look at them, but they will look at every one in Wyandotte, and they will give the homeowner a list of corrections that they will have to make. It's very similar to a building inspection or a restaurant inspection.
I see. Well, Paul, it does sound like you are in Wyandotte addressing a lot of the concerns that this EGLE survey raised through multiple different avenues, and we just don't have enough time to get to all of them. But I do want to ask you one final question, which is that Wyandotte could join the Great Lakes Water Authority, which already serves 127 municipalities across 8 southeastern Michigan counties. Are you considering that option in a way to kind of lighten the load of having to manage the city all on its own?
Kerry, the hallmark of municipal utilities is local control and ownership. So we are run by the citizens of the city. Those are the ultimate bosses of the city. And the city fathers take great pride in the fact that we are independent of large investor-owned electric utilities, large regional water authorities, and that we also can provide our residents with faster internet than any of the large multi-state internet video companies. So the consideration of joining GLEWA is probably something that we've looked at in the past, and the city fathers are not interested in pursuing that.
All right. Paul Lemaines, General Manager for Wyandotte Municipal Services, thank you very much for joining us on the Metro this morning and talking through this.
Thanks, Kerry. Thanks for having me.
WDET has weathered many changes in government priorities, but we've always had one constant: you, our listeners. Now, with looming threats to federal funding, we're asking for help again. Let's build a stronger WDET together. We're aiming for 1,000 additional members to reinforce our future. Join us at WDET.org/give and spread the word. Coming up, there are a lot of resources available for people who need them in Southeast Michigan: shelters, food banks, things like that. But for a long time, those services haven't all been in one digital place. Next, we'll speak with a social worker who's changing that. We'll be right back on the Metro. Stay right there.